as of late, they've hit some bumps in the road.
You see Wake started 10-1 and since 1-9, and you see the smile. Hey, Wake has nothing to lose. That's what they were going to come here and do. They were just going to play loose and go for it against a big-time team, and that's what the Panthers are under Dan Fisher. He has built this program to number 2 in the nation over his 7 years. You see Dan there, and what Dan has done is pretty amazing. As Peyton Seuss will start us off, the freshman for Wake Forest. And ball touched out of bounds. First point of the match to Wake Forest.
And I think that's the type of rally that Wake Forest wants. They want to be in every point with these Panthers. As you said, the number 2 team in the country, but these girls on Wake Forest don't have anything to lose.
Panthers out of bounds on the hit, so 2-0 early for Wake Forest. Boy, in this match for the Demon Deacons to get some confidence early. Panthers a little sloppy early, and another point to Wake, and just don't seem locked in here. The Panthers do early on.
And Jeff, this is a Wake Forest team that is coming off a loss, but that was a loss in which they came back against Virginia Tech. They started out down 0-2, and Seuss, who's serving now, had 15 kills in that game.
KO, the hit, and the first point for the Panthers. Sabrina Starks as Kayla Lund will serve for the Panthers, down 3-1. And good block at the net by the Panthers.
And this has been an incredible part of the Panthers game, and right in the middle of it, you see there Sabrina Starks. She ranks 10th in the nation, Jeff, in blocks per set at 1.45. It's almost a block and a half per set.
You see the energy that the 6'2 sophomore brings as well. Good dig, back hit, saved by Wake Forest. Opportunity in the middle, but blocked by the Panthers again, and we're 3-all.
And Jeff, you saw there, Kaitowski had to come all the way back past the 10-foot line on that play, and that's something that Coach Mart said they need to do better, get a better first contact.
Opportunity here for the Panthers, and Starks puts that away. The sophomore Starks, a big part of this first set so far.
And she's really come on in her second season with the Panthers. Didn't see a lot of playing time last year. And with Chinaza Ende moving over to the right pin, that leaves the spot open for Starks.
An error by Seuss. Randy Smart said, hey, they're going to serve at you when you're a freshman. And that's what the Panthers have done here early on, Kayla Lund. And that time she was going the other way and into the net.
And especially a freshman, but the player who has hands. You're always going to want to, as the serving team, serve to a setter that's in the back row, because then that's going to put the team automatically out of system.
Now the lefty, Caitlin Clark. Opportunity for the Panthers, Stephanie Wood.
And there's a player for the Panthers that you love to see getting started early. The great set from Makeo, a quick set, and that leaves the single block on the outside. And you can see there the fierce look of Stephanie Williams pointing to her setters saying, great set, let's move on.
Look at it. Net or double hit, I'm not
sure.
I
think that was a double contact on Stephanie Williams, because you could see right after that play happened, she showed a little bit of emotion, had that open mouth like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just called that on me.
Kaitowski the serve. Panthers point. Lane Van Buskirk Panthers up 7-5 here early on.
And there you see Stephanie Williams, that emotion that I talked about that you don't typically see from her, looking at the ref like, hey, that was some clean hands.
Nika Markowitz. Chance here for the Panthers. Stephanie Williams again. That one right by where Casey was in the crowd. Randy Smart. Van Buskirk. Good dig by the Demon Deacons. Seuss gets it over, and a good block at the net, still alive. And the Panthers free ball here for Wake Forest. Good dig.
And what a defensive clinic by the Panthers. Great by Van Buskirk, then Lund, then Hilligus. Everyone getting in on the defensive action for the Panthers.
Hilligus was big at that point.
It's a great job by the libero to get her hands under that ball, both arms, and popping that up in perfect position.
9-5 Panthers. We're back with more here from the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Welcome back to the University of Pittsburgh. The Panthers an early 9-5 lead over the Demon Deacons here in the first set. Match. Nika Markowitz serving. It's the save and put away by Stephanie Williams. Boy, Markowitz on a roll here for the Panthers.
And she has one of those float serves that you think you're ready, and then all of a sudden the ball's to your right or left.
Another good dig by Haley. Wind up by Williams. Opportunity here for Wake. Williams. Stephanie Williams, and we mentioned injuries also have affected the Panthers, including Kylie Levers, as Casey Garrow tells us.
Thanks, Jeff. Kylie Levers said the 3 keys to being a great setter are experience, time, and chemistry with your teammates. Well, on August 15th, Kylie went down with a torn ACL, a season-ending injury, and Lexis Sakeo, a freshman and 17-year-old, was asked to step up in her place. But the problem was Lexis didn't feel she had the time, experience, or chemistry with her teammates just yet. But she said it was teammates like Kylie and her coaches that instilled her with confidence and trust to becoming that starting setter. Well, 3 months later, Jeff, she won her 5th ACC Freshman of the Week honor, and now she's looking to improve in this set right now. Back to you, Jeff.
It's pretty amazing. She keeps breaking her own record for ACC Freshman of the Week. As Panthers a 12-5 lead. And there's a KO right there. Williams. Good save by Seuss. Chance here for Pitt. And Buskirk.
And you're not going to stop the slide of Lane Van Buskirk when you have the quick hands of a KO setting it. And Jeff, when we talk to Coach Fisher about Lexis Akeo, he always says that he wants her to kind of exude more confidence, believe in herself, and know that she has a big hand in what the type of success that this team has had.
And when you're a freshman coming into this type of program where the Panthers are now, and you're asked to step right in, regardless of if your sister played here or not, and maybe because of that, you know how even more how big this program has become. She's handled it well. Wake getting the last point. Paige Sebesta to serve for the Demon Deacons. Another slide by Van Buskirk. Save from Wake Forest. Stephanie Williams. A couple of good saves here from Wake. But they can't stop the slide from Lane Van Buskirk.
And that plays is just so hard as a blocker to get your hands on, because as an outside hitter, you're supposed to line up with the middle shoulder. And when they're running all the way from the middle, as you see here, no shot for Seuss to get out there and try and block, and then the middle nowhere to be found either.
Another point to the Panthers. Alex Dreyer has checked in on the Stephanie Williams serve. Panthers a 15-6 lead here in the first set. And really for the Panthers to stay up, they need to not just win, but win convincingly. As we look at the RPI rankings, you see the Panthers there, even with one loss, they're 5th. And Amanda, you said, you know, some of these things can change just by one set, a loss of one set.
Absolutely, and it also depends on the type of opponents that you play. So when you look at a team like Baylor, who's sitting at number 1 in the RPI, number 3 in the country, they have an average RPI left of their remaining opponents of 88 compared to the Panthers with their remaining opponents at 104. Wisconsin, who sits at number 3, they have one of the toughest remaining schedules. Their remaining schedule has teams that equal out to an average RPI of 54. So when you look at it, it's about what you do, but it's also about where your opponents are in the rankings as well.
So how does this RPI work? Well, here it is. 25% of it is team winning percentage. Another 25% is the opponent's winning percentage, and then half of it is the opponent's win percentage.
And that's exactly what I was just talking about, Jeff. So obviously it's important for the Panthers to win every game that they play, but it can help them, obviously, but a win can honestly hurt them as well, because they play some teams, when you look at it, like Wake Forest, who right now is at 190 in the RPI. So this team that they're playing here tonight, they need to win, but they need to win big. It has to be in 3 sets, and that's really what they have to do for the remainder of the season. And Jeff, Coach Fisher told us before the game that he kind of thought that this team had a little bit of overconfidence, and you never want to have that when you're a team like the Panthers, number 2 in the country and number 5 in RPI.
Although you could kind of understand from the Panthers standpoint, winning 30 of 31 sets in ACC play, that it's just human nature to get that into you. I don't know how you how do you work that through? I know Dan Fisher gave us the answer, we practice harder.
Yes, practice harder. And it's funny because with Coach Fisher, I said the word happy, and he immediately responded back to me saying, I'm not happy. He always strives for more. There's always something they can do better. There's always that one extra step that this team can go. And I think right now they're really showing that up now. 16-7 with the kill there from Kayla Lund.
And Lund's kill off the Olivia Saunders serve, which was a really nice serve, but good job by the Panthers. Now up 16-7, and Zoe Faki will serve.
And this is a player for the Panthers that Coach Fisher said he would love to get in more, but there's so many great players on this team, it's hard to find a spot for everyone.
Good play from Wake, the finish by Caitlin Della. Caitlin Della is a really solid player.
And there you can see the middles and an outside hitter just not at the shoulder of Della, and that left her wide open to hit that cross court.
Della last year, 1st in points, 2nd in kills, 2nd in blocks, played every set. Her final year, North Carolina native. And the jump serve into the net, point Panthers.
And those are points that you can't give away. If you're Wake Forest, you're down. At that point, it was 16-8, and you need all the points that you can get.
Serve over and dumped down by the Panthers. That's caught Kayla Lund. KO serve. Panthers up 10 here in the first set. Slide by Wake, blocked. And point off of Seuss to Wake Forest. Now, Caitlin Della, 6'3" senior, mentioned some of her stats. She was an All-American. She was someone that Pitt really wanted.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at what she's able to do for this team, almost averaging 3 kills a set, hitting at a great clip of 374, and that's exactly what you want from a middle. You want a lot of kills, and you want that consistency of being able to get those kills with the hitting percentage. And there we saw for the Panthers what used to be a middle hitter for them in Chinaza Ende, who has now moved to the right side, and it's been a great addition to this Panthers team offensively.
Lund to serve. Panthers up 10. Hip saved by Williams. Opportunity here for Ende, and a near dig, but part of the floor. Great effort there by Peyton Washington, but Ende with the kill. And I think Randy Smart, looks like they want to check a contact or. Yep, that's exactly it. Kaitowski going to put a contact back in.
And that's a player that they need.
Hard enough to play against Pitt with, you know, your contacts in.
Kaitowski, a freshman coming in from Michigan for these Demon Deacons, and she's had to play in the absence of their setter, junior Maddie Holt, so they need her to come back into that game, or into this game, excuse me. And there she is, all smiles. She's saying, I just need to get my eye back in place.
And she's familiar with this area. Her brother played soccer at St. Francis of Loretto, which is about an hour from the Pitt campus. 11-point lead here in the first set for the second-ranked Panthers. Ende. And touch of the net. Point to the Panthers, 4 from winning this first set.
And Wake Forest early, Jeff, seemed like they were on a roll. They had a couple of points. They had the Panthers on the ropes a little bit early, very inconsistent for Pitt, but as usual, as we've seen all season long, they've really come into their own as this set has grown.
Stephanie Williams. You know, it's been an interesting year for Stephanie Williams. It's been kind of a roller coaster for her this year. She's really come on as of late. Good play by Wake Forest. The finish by Della. Della will go out for Olivia Saunders. Another kill for Della. It's 22-10.
And that's a player that Coach Smart, as you could see talking to Della there, would love to have on the court all the time. But as in volleyball, you have to rotate, and rotating out is what Della had to do there. So see her back in a couple of rotations, but she's done a great job so far providing the offense for this Wake Forest team. Now 3 kills tonight.
Double hit by the Panthers. Now Ende winds up and finishes.
And Ende there just has such a quick swing, and that's what she's used to from being in the middle. And you can see there she still had a double block in front of her, but able to get a powerful kill.
She is 5'11", but plays much taller. And a good block there by Saunders. Just look at Saunders get up. And
the single block, and that's exactly what you need to do. You can see they're positioned right in front of Lane Van Busker across the net, and that's exactly where you need to be in order to get that block.
Stephanie Williams. Yet another point here in this first set, and the Panthers are a point from winning the first.
And Jeff, interesting about Saunders, who just had that last block for Wake Forest, she actually has a chipped bone on her foot right now that she's playing through. So that's one of the injured players that when we talked to Coach Smart, she mentioned for her team.
And an ace to end. Panthers dominate first, trailing 25-12. We're back with set number 2 here at the University of Pittsburgh on the ACC Network.
welcome back to Pittsburgh. It's been a season of challenges for Wake Forest, and recently the Deacons have had to tap their roster to replace one of their leaders, Wake Forest Junior and starting setter Madeline Holt, who has been out for 2 weeks with a hand injury, which then forced freshman Parker Kaitowski into the lineup as the team's primary setter. You saw her just a second ago. She had a little bit of a contact issue, but back on the court looking good. Pitt also had to replace their starting setter with a freshman this year, and the Deacons are hoping that their own freshman can live up to the challenge that Lexis Akeo has to this point. Head coach Randy Smart told us earlier this week that Maddie Holt's presence as a leader is definitely missed, and this is also a chance for Kaitowski to try and run the show for once. In just her 5th game as a setter, Kaitowski is going to look to do that and lead the Deacons to a win in the second set. Back to you, Jeff.
And the Panthers took that first set 25-12. As you see Pitt huddling up as we're getting ready to start the second.
Jeff, when you talk about those two setters that we just mentioned in Lexis Akeo there and Parker Kaitowski, look at that first set. Lexis had 16 assists compared to only 5 assists for Kaitowski, so that's a little bit of the consistency issues that we talked to Coach Smart about, and not getting that first pass where it needs to be, so then that causes Kaitowski to have to play out of system, which doesn't lead to a lot of assists on kills.
See that 5-time ACC Freshman of the Week. As we mentioned earlier, her sister played here for 4 years, now playing professionally. Sure, if not live, Kamalani and her family are watching this match. Kayla Lund winds up, good save. And that acrobatic move there by Seuss, not to get knocked down, but the point to the Panthers.
That was a triple block up at the net. So 6 hands covering the net there, and Paige Sebesta didn't have anywhere to go with that back row attack.
You know, when you're struggling, it kind of seems like there's about 12 hands up at the net. And a point to Pittsburgh. An error on Wake Forest.
And Jeff, we actually talked to Coach Smart a little bit about the landscape of the ACC, and she said it's great what Pitt is doing, but when you play other teams like Louisville, who's receiving votes right now, she said it seemed like there was 8 attackers coming at them. And just to remind everyone, there's only 6 players on the court, so a little impossible, but that's what they make it seem like.
Lund, man, winds up and unable to save it, but hustling is Sebesta. And it's 3-0 Panthers here early in the second set. Good set and kill by Wake Forest by Caitlin Della. As you look at those standings, Panthers a 2-game lead over Louisville and Notre Dame, 2.5 over Florida State. As you see, 21-1 overall. Only ranked team in the ACC. No team has ever been ranked higher in this conference. 3-1 lead for the Panthers here. Seuss long, point to Pitt, now 4-1. Excuse me, tipped. Never mind, now they've switched back.
You can see
the
Coach
initial
Fisher,
point to Wake.
Coach Fisher was not going to be happy to have to pull out that green card if he needed it. And you can see those girls. Chinaza Ende, I love the face there. Just like, are you serious? I didn't come anywhere near that.
That typifies the saying, a picture says 1,000 words.
That said thousands there with the expression from Chinaza Ende.
Seuss hit, dug by the Panthers. Williams, another dig there from Wake Forest. And a point to the Panthers, a double hit by Wake Forest. Arturo Rivera with some pointers for his really impressive freshman, Hayden Seuss. And an error there by Wake Forest. You know, one thing that may get lost in this first set is how effectively really the Panthers have served. And while there have been errors by Wake Forest, Panthers have served it well, and an early 6-1 lead for the Panthers, already up a set here at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Wake Forest's Caitlin Della, as it's been a struggle here, Amanda, for Wake.
And you can see there the first ball not where it needed to be, and the inexperience there between Kaitowski and Della, thinking that she was going to be in a different spot, and especially with that first ball getting her out of system, you know that there's the spacing between the setter and the middle, but you need to be able to have that chemistry, and it wasn't there on that play.
And ball knocked out. We go down to Casey Garrow.
Yeah.
Point to the Panthers, 7-1. Catch up with Casey in a minute. Seuss hit, dug by the Panthers. Ende in. 8th point for Pitt out of 9, as Casey Garrow has more.
Thanks, Jeff. I just listened to Coach Randy Smart, and she was saying to Kartowski on the court, she's like, find Della, please find Caitlin Della. Just set and find her. Do whatever you can. Kind of yelling that from the sidelines to her. And Kartowski simply said, I'm trying.
And block by Stephanie Williams at the net. And, hey, when you're having a tough season, you're facing the #2 team in the country, I'm sure there are times frustration sets in.
Absolutely, and you have to go to your bread and butter, which is Caitlin Della, but you have to know on the other side of the court that at the point in this game right now that the Panthers know that's coming too. So on that last play you just saw, there was a triple block on Caitlin Della because the Panthers also know that that's Randy Smart's plan, because when you're down at this point 9-1 in the second set, you've already lost the first. Where else do you need to go but your best hitter?
So some substitutions maybe to slow down the momentum a little bit from the Panthers. A 9-1 lead. Now a back set. Good point there from Seuss.
And that's another player that I think that Coach Smart should be talking to Kaitowski about getting the ball more often, is Peyton Seuss. That just her 8th attack attempt, but also her 2nd kill, and she also has 2 errors. So not the most efficient night for Seuss, but she's proven to be a great player for this Wake Forest team.
And a point for the Panthers. Sabrina Starks. So Hillegas to serve, a 10-2 lead. Panthers took the first set 25-12. And good tip, but a dig by the Panthers. Williams has it blocked, and that's a point for Wake Forest.
And a great save in the middle of that play from Lexis Akayo, sticking that arm out, getting the pancake up, and just not able to get the point served up for her team.
Caroline Rassenfoss with the point for Wake Forest. It's 10-3. And Stephanie Williams, as the Panthers look to get it going back to Williams, and Williams.
And when Stephanie Williams is on, she's not going to get denied twice in 1 point. And just a great job out of system play. Akayo in the middle setting there, and then you can see a perfect shot there of the hole in that block. So you have to look for Wake Forest and Olivia Saunders in the middle to close that block, get hip to hip right next to her outside, and create a space where Stephanie Williams can't hit through.
Maddie Soboleski in to serve, and ball over. Panthers still alive on a point that looked like it was dead. And the Panthers with another dig with Soboleski, and Kayla Lund out. And a point really that Wake earned, and the Panthers tried to stay alive in.
I don't even know how that ball did not hit the ground. A bunch of Panthers players, and you can see there off of some body part of Maddie Soboleski, then off of the arm, I think, of Haley Hillegas, and the left club of Nika Markowitz comes out of nowhere and gets that ball over the net.
It looked like high school gym volleyball where you're just doing whatever to get the ball over the net, and the Panthers do it again. And a block at the net, saved by Starks, and Williams gets it over. And ball tipped by the Panthers and deep.
And I think that the type of volleyball that the Panthers are playing right now is not exactly what Coach Fisher would love to see. As you can see there, just kind of the burrowing of the brow, wondering what his team is doing, wants them to pick it up a little bit here in the second set.
It's been a little sloppy, and Stephanie Williams knocks it over, and a save. Good job by Wake. Van Buskirk in. Well, if there's someone that could take a broken play and make a point out of it, it's Lane Van Buskirk.
Absolutely. She's just everywhere in the middle, and she's so quick. And that's what the biggest factor is. You can't be a slow-footed middle. Lane Van Buskirk gets herself back and gets ready no matter where the pass goes to be able to have an efficient attack.
Stephanie Williams to serve. Panthers up 7 here in set number 2. Ball hit long by Seuss. Now 13-5 Panthers. And that's, we'd mentioned it, Dan Fisher wants the team to stay focused. No let-ups, no overconfidence. Floated there by Williams. And the ball kind of mishit and just doesn't get over the net.
Yeah, I think Saunders would love to have that one back. Seemed like a great set and just kind of mishit, swung, and it went off the side of her hand and hit the antenna.
And Williams hits it into the net. A 6th point for Wake Forest. And Caroline Kuhn will serve. And she puts everything into this. And deep.
And unfortunately, everything into that serve caused it to go out for Wake Forest. And as I said in the first set, these times whenever you're able to stop the Panthers, you need to take advantage and rally off a couple of points. And that's what Coach Smart, I think, is telling her player, Carolyn Kuhn, who just came off of the court, that just be smart about where your swing takes the ball.
Point for Olivia Saunders. Wake Forest back with the serve. And Saunders will get to serve. Trailing by 8 here in the second set. Wake Forest just 1-9 in ACC play after such a promising start to the season. And a second straight deep serve by Wake Forest. And if you're looking to make an upset, especially on the road of the #2 team, you've got to do all those little things right. And we've just seen those costly mistakes by the Demon Deacons.
And Jeff, you also look offensively for both teams. Currently, Wake Forest has a 0 hitting percentage with the efficiency that they have, and the Panthers almost hitting at a 400 clip at 378. And that tells the story of this match right now. You can just tell how overpowering the offense is of the Panthers.
Della able to get a point there and get the serve back. Kordikas to serve, tipped by the Panthers and effective. Zoe Fockey with the point, and now she will serve. And the touch here, just perfect.
And that's just a great job of Zoe Fockey, looking to see what the defense gave her and finding the hole.
An ace now for Fockey. 18-8 Panthers. And Wake Forest will take a timeout with the Panthers up 10 here in the second set. And Stephanie Williams, another milestone for Stephanie. Already over 1,300 kills, but her 1,000th dig.
And that dig came on Friday night against Notre Dame, and now that makes Stephanie one of 3 Panthers in program history with 1,300 kills and 1,000 digs, and now one of 5 to get over 1,000 digs. So you think about what she's been able to do for this Panthers team, both offensively and defensively, and it's truly astounding and really a testament to the type of player that she is.
3-time honorable mention All-American. First team all ACC 3 times. And you see some of those numbers.
Just look at that career win percentage, Jeff.
The one in the middle is the one she probably likes the most.
How'd you like to have that? Only 28 losses in your entire career right now.
And while the Panthers started turning the corner, she was one of the cornerstones to really take this program to the next level in 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances and heading for a 4th. So not many Panthers can say that they've been in the NCAA every year that they were here. But Stephanie will get to say that this year.
And she's more of that silent type of leader for the Panthers. You don't see the emotion. You see her in the picture there with Chinaza Ende. She brings the emotion, and Stephanie Williams is kind of that cool, calm, and collected type of player that you look at to exude that confidence, but in a diminished manner.
And block at the net, point Panthers. Starks and Williams in on the block. Fockey to serve. Looking for point 20 for the Panthers. Block again. This time it's Starks and Ende at the net.
And there's that big smile of Chinaza Ende. She knew she set that block up perfectly. Starks able to come over, get the double block, and nowhere for the attack attempt for the team on the other side, Wake Forest.
And ball into the net, point out of bounds to Wake Forest. Hayden Seuss to serve. Coming up at the intermission, we'll hear from both coaches. Casey Garrow down with both. Also take a look at the first couple of sets as Panthers well in control, 21 now to 9. Haley Hillegas to serve now for the Panthers, and Starks gets an opportunity to rest. And would have a player like her being able to make an impact like that. And Hillegas serves it long.
Here's that last play, just picture perfect volleyball. The great pass from Hillegas, getting Alexis Akeo exactly where she wants to be, and then Starks with that ball coming so fast out of Alexis's hands, there's no chance for the block to get set up.
And ball hit long by Van Buskirk. A couple straight points for Wake Forest. And serve long, point 22 for the Panthers. Just a bit long from Caitlin Clark. Markowitz back in, as is Natalie Soboleski, or Maddie Soboleski, sorry.
And the Panthers are glad to have her back. Give Lexis Akeo a little bit of a rest, as she was out for a couple of games with an injury. And you could see Stephanie Williams really having a great game again, active at the net, getting that overpass back onto the side of the Demon Deacons.
Know it's going your way when you get the net serve. It's a near ace. This one not even close to the net. And wind up and save. Chance here for the Panthers, Stephanie Williams.
And right inside of that block, perfect angle so you could see there, Stephanie Williams, the great setup from Lexis Akeo to get inside that block.
Kill 27 for the Panthers. And Wake is long, point to the Panthers, and a second straight set for the Panthers. And again, Amanda, pretty dominant.
Absolutely. Stephanie Williams already 9 kills. Already 9 kills for the evening, and really just a great offensive output for the Panthers overall when you look at the stats. I mean, they have 4 service aces compared to none for Wake Forest. You talked about serving earlier, and that's a big key in this game. Also, is controlling the serving line.
Yeah, and they've done a good job, and they know that they're a better team, and for the most part, with little hiccups here or there, they've kept their focus.
Absolutely, and we'll take a second for Casey Garrow to talk with Coach Dan Fisher about the first 2 sets that we've seen tonight.
Thanks, Jeff and Amanda. Coach, first set, you trailed by a little bit, but then you come back with a dominating performance in that second set. What did you adjust in set 2?
Oh, I don't think I adjusted anything. We just started playing better, and this is one of the best we've served all year, so a lot of things are going right. We just got to keep it up.
Was it nice to give Alexis a little bit of break in that second set? You have some depth on this team.
Yeah, we've about a month ago we were going to the 6-2 quite a bit, and then Maddie's been a little banged up, and so she's back healthy now, and so it gives us the option to look at that a little bit.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Casey Garrow with the head coach of the Pitt Panthers. 2 sets to none so far for the Panthers, 25-12 and 25-11. It has been all Pitt. We're back with the second intermission here from Wake Forest head coach as we continue here at the University of Pittsburgh. And welcome back to Pittsburgh. As you see, the Panthers 25-12 and 25-11 through 2 sets. The best of 3. Jeff Hathorn and Amanda Siley here at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse in the University of Pittsburgh campus, and the number 2 team in the country really asserting themselves here.
Absolutely. The Panthers right now hitting at a 400 clip. Coach Fisher right before this break said it. They're serving great as well. They're also blocking great, have 5.5 blocks already in this set, and Lexis Akeo has over 20 assists. So when you look at all those categories and you're leading in them, you're going to be leading in the game.
And really led at a lot of times by their 3-time first-team All-ACC player, Stephanie Williams.
And she just really does it all for this Panthers team. You can see they're going up against the single block, taking advantage, and then just the smarts to see that she can tool it off of that block, and then the power that she has as well, seeing the hole in that block, getting a great contact, and she's done a phenomenal job this game. And also, as of late for the Panthers, you can see her last 3 games hitting at a 328 clip, and then if you go back to the 3 games before that, she was struggling a lot, and she actually got pulled out of some of those games in place of Zoe Faki, and I think that really hit her hard, and she wanted to show why she is the type of player that she is for these Panthers.
So let's get the Wake Forest side. Casey Garrow is with head coach Randy Smart.
Thanks, Jeff. Coach Smart, down 2 sets, but you said earlier this week it's 1 point at a time. You needed these girls to focus. What did you say in the huddle there?
Told them that we're just a step slow offensively and defensively, that we got to get our setters the ball a little bit more inside the 10, see if we can get our hitters some good looks at some good swings, and just go play hard.
I heard you giving some messages and coaching to Parker on the sidelines. Get it to Della. Was that kind of the message in the huddle just now as well?
Yeah, we would set Della everywhere, every time if we could. Find 14 and give her the ball because she gets it done.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck.
Thank you. You too.
Randy Smart with Casey Garrow as we get set to start the 3rd set. And really, if you're Wake, you just 1 point at a time, just start playing a little better fundamentally, and let's see what they can do here in the 3rd.
And I think the big thing that she just said is the difference between these 2 teams. She said, get it to Caitlin Della. We'd give her the ball all the time. And that's the difference with this Panthers offense is you see getting the kill right there. A prime example of what I'm trying to say is Zoe Faki getting the kill. So the Panthers don't have that go-to player that they need to perform, but every game in and game out, they have that type of player that rises to the occasion.
I think when your program gets to where Pitt is, you hear the term in athletics, reload, and you're able to work players in matches like this to get them their experience, and then all of a sudden they're the key players. Nice block there by the Demon Deacons, and it just kind of feeds on itself.
And there's Zoe Gonzalez. We haven't said her name a lot tonight, the 6'3" freshman middle blocker. So some youth on this Wake Forest team as they're really trying to figure out where their program is headed.
And serve deep by Kuhn. It's 2-1 Panthers, up 2 sets to none. Haley Hilligas to serve after the substitution.
And Kuhn has had a little bit of trouble. She has that topspin jump serve, and I can remember back a long time ago, Jeff, in my playing days, that I also had a topspin jump serve, and sometimes it's on and sometimes it's off.
But when it's on,
it's phenomenal.
Stephanie Williams slides a little. Dig there by Wake Forest. Seuss, the kill. So Peyton Seuss and 2-2 between Wake Forest and Pitt here in the third.
And that's, again, Coach Smart said, get it to Della, but I also think you need to give Peyton Seuss a couple of chances as well. She's shown to be a great hitter for this Wake Forest team as she leads them in kills on the season. Coming into tonight, she had 239.
And a tip into the net, and I'm wondering how long until a Dan Fisher timeout. With a 3-2 Wake lead.
I think these are the moments that he wants to see his team figure it out without having to call that timeout. Because you think when they're in a game in what will be coming up in a couple of weeks, the NCAA tournament, you want to see what this team is made of within themselves.
And Buskirk hits it wide. And Gonzalez with another serve. Wake Forest up 4-2. And a kill by Van Buskirk.
And watch
Senior
this,
from
Jeff,
Ontario.
the one-handed set from Lexus Akeo. So now you can see the confidence of Lexus Akeo. She doesn't even need two hands to set the ball. I'll handle this with one.
How difficult is that not to double hit or carry with one hand?
Well, considering I was awful at setting with both, it's incredibly difficult. Even with someone of the skills of Lexus Akeo, you want to have two hands on the ball to have that consistency and that power. And there she just, this pass too hard from Zoe Fockey, so the only thing she could do was put that one hand up.
So another Canadian, also from Ontario. Olivia Saunders with the kill for Wake. And too many hits will be Panther ball. Double hits, and it's 5-4 Wake Forest. And Saunders has shown some moments here for Wake today.
She's one of those players with a little bit of experience, a redshirt sophomore for this Wake Forest team, and one of those players that, again, we talked about playing with some injury, as a lot of players are at this time of year, but playing through it and showing her coach why she needs to be out on that court.
Saunders with a couple of points here, and a 2-point lead for Demon Deacons. And wind up and a touch. Zoe Fockey the point. You get the Panthers back within one as Starks will come in and Van Buskirk will serve.
And Jeff, I think moving forward through the rest of this third set, you can imagine that we'll probably see a little bit more of Zoe Fockey, who just had that last kill for the Panthers. We talked to Coach Fisher before the match, and he told us, and actually Casey brought it up to him, do you worry about the minutes and the plays and the number of times that a player has jumped this season and all that kind of stuff? And they do worry about it a little bit, and I think that's why we're seeing Zoe Fockey in place of Kayla Lund, who is the best player on this Panthers team, who have a ton of phenomenal players, but maybe giving her her legs a few less jumps here in this game.
And point, and there she is, Zoe Fockey with the kill. The Panthers back within one as Ende and Akeo will check back in.
And Jeff, I think it's tough to kind of have that balance of wanting to win and win in the manner that the Panthers have been, 3-0, really dominating opponents, and also monitoring the players that you have on the court and what they are doing out there.
Ende, just so strong.
And here's an out-of-system play for the Panthers. Stephanie Williams, the perfect set. So we talked about that, what she's been doing tonight. Now she's getting in on the setting action and getting assists there on the end day kill.
And double hit by Wake will be a point for the Panthers and their first lead of the set, 8-7. Panthers lead it 2-0. And ball hit into the net by Gonzalez. It's a point for the Panthers.
And that set just not high enough for Zoe Gonzalez. That's going to be a quick set always. Typically what you would call a 1 set, 1 foot above the net, but just not enough height on it for Gonzalez.
Serve into the net. An opportunity here for the Demon Deacons to get back even. Parker Kaitowski with the running serve, and Hillegas had to pick that one off the floor, and it ends up being a point for the Panthers.
And Jeff, I think you said it earlier, when everything's going your way, that's the type of play that you have. Literally, Hillegas picking that ball up off the ground, essentially, getting the pass, and the best thing about it is she got the pass to the perfect position for Alexis Akeo.
Kuhn blocked, and a tip by the Panthers. Great play by Starks.
And I love the soft touch there from Starks. We've seen the power from her all night, and then you can see there everyone waiting for that hard attack and everyone standing up. And you can see here the great play, and Polchanski caught sleeping, standing up on that play where she should be down ready to get that tip.
How do you see that? I mean, the peripheral has to be outstanding to be able to kind of see that developing as you're up in the air.
And that's just, I think that experience of Stark starting to come through. She's only a sophomore, but she's had so much playing time this season compared to last that she's been able to read those defenses a lot more.
And this communication there by the Panthers, and a ball knocked long by Williams. 11-10. And a timeout by the Panthers. Panthers lead it 2-0 and 11-10 as you're watching the ACC Network. And welcome back to Pittsburgh. You know, it's not just the fans that get to have fun. And when you're 21-1, as Casey Garrett will tell us, Panthers having a little fun too.
Yeah, Jeff, the Panthers had a lot of fun. Every year they have a practice where they dress up in Halloween costumes, and they did that yesterday, of course, on Halloween. And there was Kylie Levers, who dressed up as quarterback of the Clemson Tigers. Trevor Lawrence, we're still waiting for a response. We're hoping that he will, dress up as Kylie this year. Maybe he can give us a little response. I know he's getting ready for a game tomorrow, but again, Kylie is waiting for a response, Trevor, if you're watching.
That was crazy how close she looked to Trevor Lawrence.
And I think my favorite part of that group shot, 2 things. Stephanie Williams won. I think won the contest with that photo alone, just by standing away from the camera, looking as away. And then also my favorite, and I told Coach Fisher this before the match, I said the most interesting man in the world, the Dos Equis man. A wonderful costume, and he really pulled it off.
And Dan is a very interesting man. He has done a lot of things in his life. As we are now 12-12, and credit to Wake Forest. First 2 sets just bad, and instead of just folding and going home, they're fighting here. It's 12-12 here in the third against the #2 team in the country. Served there by Gonzalez. Stephanie Williams, good dig. And ball long by Wake Forest. We're back to even, Panthers up 13-12.
And Jeff, you talked a little bit about it just there with what this Wake Forest team is doing right now, and I think that's a little bit of Coach Smart coming out in them, because she said, when she talked to us, you could just hear that confidence, that quiet confidence in her voice, and she really has grown into this role of becoming the head coach, and officially becoming the head coach just a few weeks ago.
And block in. Point for the Demon Deacons. And I also give credit to the players for this. When everything was going on and they weren't sure what was going to happen with their coach, every single one of them stayed with Randy Smart and the program. And as she said, every single one is going to graduate and do something good with their life. But with their lives. And really, that's what all of these athletes are in it for.
And that personality that I was talking about comes through in this quote. She said, my personality is to forget about it and move forward. And I think that's exactly what this Wake Forest team is doing in this set, forgetting about what happened in those first two and moving forward. But I don't think they can forget about what just happened there with the serve from Stephanie Williams.
Stephanie Williams having a big night here. She only has a couple of home matches left, although she hopes the final home match is down the street from the Pitt campus at PPG Paints Arena, where the Final Four national championship will be in women's volleyball this year.
And Jeff, I've already bought my tickets. I bought them last December, so I'm ready to go. That's going to be some great volleyball action happening just down the street.
Got your hotel ready?
Oh, yeah.
And a miss hit by Zeus. And coming up in a month from now is the selection show, as we see coming up on Sunday, the top 10 reveal. Then the first and second rounds, you see the regionals, and then the national championship and semifinals right here in Pittsburgh on ESPN and ESPN2.
And the Panthers able to host that first round for the first time ever, and that actually happened right down the hill from us at the Pete.
And the excitement of volleyball in this town has fans start to get behind volleyball.
And how can you not? You talk about there's number 2 in the country. That's of all the teams that play volleyball in Division I, and they're right behind Texas, who just had a big or I guess you could call it an upset against Baylor. So that's why Baylor moves down, and then you have the Big Ten powers of Stanford and Wisconsin and Nebraska and Penn State, and the list goes on in the Big Ten. And the Panthers actually ended up losing to a Big Ten foe last year in the NCAA tournament in Michigan State.
And we saw something you probably never thought if you're a volleyball lover in the Pittsburgh area. Over 5,000 people at the Peterson Event Center to watch Pitt against Penn State. I think that was a crowning moment for what Dan Fisher has done. Even though the Panthers ended up losing in the 5th set, the excitement of that match and the experience that those fans got, I can't wait for NCAA regionals and the NCAA Final Four here in Pittsburgh. Panthers serving up 4. Stephanie Williams. Ball blocked into the net, a point for Wake Forest.
And they're just Saunders overpowering that double block of the Panthers and getting herself another kill here, making that 6 and leading this Wake Forest team.
Ashley Browski now in the game for the Panthers.
And that's another one of those players. We talked about Zoe Fockey getting into the game for Dan Fisher, and he said Ashley Browski has really been proving herself in practice, and he's wanted to find ways to get her into the game.
That is such a call. And I'm sure you remember this in your career, when that serve's going and you're like, is it in, is it out, is it in, is it out? And just long on that one, point for the Panthers.
And then you exhale when it's out, and then you just shake your head when you look and the line judge says that that ball was in. And then you just turn around and say, all right, got to get the next one. You got to have that mentality that if that happens, but fortunate for Browski there that that ball was out on the serve.
Caroline Kuhn with the kill. Point for the Demon Deacons, down 3 here in the 3rd. Olivia Saunders to serve. Able to get it over. Ika Markowitz.
And there's an example again, another one of those out-of-system plays for the Panthers. That ball was first passed by Maddie Soboleski, the setter in the game right now. Then Haley Hilligus with the great set to get that ball up for the kill for Markowitz.
Markowitz out, a KO serving. Panthers 6 points from the match. is tipped long. Kuhn saves it. Winding up is Focky, but unable to finish the point. Point still alive. Longest rally here of this match. And nearly an error by Wake Forest. And Focky finally able to get the kill.
What a rally between these two teams. That's the type of hustle that both of these coaches love to see from their players, not letting the ball drop and just finally finishing it there. Zoe Focky, I think she had about 3 or 4 swings on that point.
And into the net by a KO. We're still alive here, down 4 in the third. Towski to serve. Ende, good dig. And ball into the net by Seuss. Vesta with a nice dig on that ball. Panthers now 4 points from the match. Kill for Wake Forest. Zoe Gonzalez, who's shown some flashes here in this match.
And this is what the Wake Forest team needs. They got the ball exactly where the setter wants it, right inside the 10-foot line, right at the net. And then you're able to utilize the many offensive weapons that you have, and that's exactly what they need to consistently do here to get themselves back in this third set.
Just able to get the point. Now just down 3 is Wake Forest. Stephanie Williams, good save. And ball knocked out. It was good effort there by Clark. But the Panthers able to get the point.
It seems like every time the Panthers need a big play that Sabrina Starks finds herself in the middle of it, and you can see there getting those long arms up and showing why she's one of the top blockers in the nation.
Free ball here for the Panthers. Ligas. And good block, but out. Just out on the block. Panthers now 2 from the match. Percentage, although Stark's hitting at a much higher percentage.
And those blocks too, and that's key. That's what you want from your front row players. You need to have the offensive firepower, but you also need to have that tenacity at the net in order to get those blocks. And both of those players really have been showing it all for the Panthers. Now 6.5 total blocks.
And you know, she had those opportunities, 17 matches as a freshman. Was able to build some confidence and really become an impact player this year for the Panthers. And a chance here for Haley Hilligas to serve out this match. And point to the Panthers.
And I think that was a violation underneath of the net. Went Wake Forest and interfered with the play. That was Polchansky getting in the way of the Panthers underneath the net.
Seuss. Ball blocked long, so a point for Wake Forest. They stay in this match. Zoe Gonzalez will serve. Still match point for Pitt. And Van Buskirk just long. So a couple of straight points here for Wake Forest as they're facing this match point. Zoe Gonzalez trying to somehow get Wake Forest back in it, but she serves it long. As the Panthers win this one 3-0. And man, what's your takeaway really from what the Panthers did here?
I think it's just the offensive versatility that we see from the Panthers game in and game out, where they're able to get a couple of kills from this person and this person and this person, and then it's so hard to stop as a defense, and we saw it there. Wake Forest really struggled in the first 2 sets to be able to stop the Panthers offensively.
And you see 11-0 ties the best start in program history and the 31st straight win for the Panthers at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Head coach Dan Fisher is standing by with